It's a trip.
Gentlemen,
It is trip.
The show is all yours whenever you want it.
All righty. You ready, buddy?
Let's do it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Glass Half Sports. Today is July 14th. I hope everybody is doing well as you join us as we walk you through the Sahara Desert of the sports world. I know there isn't a whole lot of anything going on. The likes of Pat McAfee and Rich Eisen and some of the guys that usually cover sports are gone. So if you're looking for a place to go to, maybe you have sports covered this week, come join us. If you stumbled across this page and you know your friends are looking for a place to find us this week, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, Patreon. Just share with your friends to be a part of what we have going on over here. I am one half of your hosting duties, as always, Nick Huffman. And I know earlier in the week we tweeted and Instagrammed and Facebooked out that we had a special guest host. So we're going to, drum roll please, and introduce the triumphant return of E. White is going to be joining us all show, ladies and gentlemen.
What up?
How are we doing, man?
Oh, dude, we're feeling wonderful. It's great to be back.
You coming back off a little bit of a vacation yourself?
Yeah, man. I was in Portland. Shout out to the Pacific Northwest. It was super fun. We did engagement pictures with me and my fiance. I know, gross, disgusting. We love it, but I just had to roll through. Nick hit me up earlier this week. I was like, hey, man, we down. Let's do it for sure. So,
absolutely, yeah. Mike is out coaching the youth for football this week. I know the Andover football season started already, which is kind of weird. It's July, but he's out doing camp for them. He will be back with us next week, hopefully, assuming you just don't blow this out of the water and we have to get rid of him.
Yeah,
but
listen, it could happen. But hey, man, good luck. Roll skis.
The bar is set. You have some I'm not going to say large shoes to fill. I'm going to say you have a very lanky seat to fill because, Mike's hands look like ET fingers.
I was going to say the chair might be a little more sunken in next week, so apologies in advance.
But we got a big show for everybody this week. There's a little bit of wild news that happened. We're going to check in on the Twins pre-All-Star break here. NFC South is the division. We were doing this series last time you were on the show.
Yeah.
This is one of our last two divisions that we're going over. So the NFC South will be this week. The Tampa Bay Gronkaneers or whatever you want to call them, their division. We'll go through that. And then Hot Corner, there's some things in the fight world. There's some other random B-list sports topics that we're going to get to, and we'll let it fly and have a good time today, man.
We love to see it. Let's do it.
Absolutely. And we can start with the Minnesota Wild. Off season in full swing and underway. And we'll start with the somber news of the potential of us not getting a potential top 10 all-time goal scorer back to Minnesota in true Minnesota fashion, as he has been denied entry to the United States twice now because he is nearing the end of his obligated militant service time to Russia.
Right.
And apparently faked his original ID.
That's wild.
That's
to me.
insane.
That's absolutely nuts. And apparently it's not just Kirill. It's like a whole group of players.
A large group.
Now, obviously, this is the biggest name.
Right.
But it's kind of like, even back to like the 90s.
Yeah.
Like you don't mess with Russia when it comes to like sports and stuff like this, because they used to have to smuggle players into the league. Like the Russian Five were smuggled into the US.
True.
It's so this is just like a whole new crazy layer. It is the most Minnesota thing that could possibly happen, but like, oh my god, bro, I've kind of fear for his safety a little bit. Like jokes aside, like I'm a little worried. I'm like, I mean, outside of being at war and everything, like I don't know if you saw the article, he'd be joining like the Air Force or something, but either way, like I just like worry about him being in like prison or like whatever it is. And it's like, I don't know what Russia does in prisons. I can't imagine it's good. So I don't know, man. It's just a wild situation.
They probably do the stuff that the US got in trouble for when we were in Afghanistan or Iraq. That would be my assumption, but I don't want to, put that out there into the world.
Sure.
Right? Positive vibes only. But yeah, man, this is weird. He's, like I said, he's tried to gain access twice. Part of it is because they say the reason he was denied is not only due to the ID thing, but it's because he doesn't have an active work visa. And at what point are we, with American sports being so global now, are we not just going to go, hey, if you have a active U.S. sports contract, on the back side of that, there's just a little thing that says green card with your signature on it. You can just walk around with your contract papers. Hey, I'm $1 million athlete. I need to get in and out of the fucking country.
Right. And like the NHL is already so complex as it is because they have offices in Canada. So it's already an international, company. So there's so many different layers to this. And it's like, how is that not already like a commitment or like things like that, or like put into play? If you think about the amount of players in the MLB, that like the majority of the MLB is like from this Central America. It's like, how do you not put that into the contract is wild to me. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. I hope they get him back because like here's the thing. They already traded Fiala. So like there's not much there at this point. Your leading scorer is going to end up being Ryan Hartman. And like,
but we got Matt Boldy.
Yeah, but like, come on, it's Kirill. It's Kirill. It's the man. I don't know, man.
This would be like the equivalent of like the Nuggets or getting Nikola Jokic and having this issue, or the Bucks having Giannis and having this issue, or
like Chris
Dirk
Middleton.
Nowitzki or whatever. It's like, come on, man. We don't ever get anything nice in this state. To put this in context, we're going nuts over Byron Buxton. He's going to enter the All-Star break with a sub 200 batting average, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what we cling on to. This is our like truest version of an absolute superstar, and you just can't get into. I have an idea. I don't care if we have to build Little Russia in a part of Minnesota so he doesn't have to leave in the off season. Like just surround it with artificial snow and vodka bottles all off season. But like maybe just don't leave the country anymore.
I mean, have you been to the North Shore? It's the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean more or less. I mean, technically, I assume. But like, this is the state of hockey, right? Like it is the claim. The claim is that Minnesota is the state of hockey, and time again, it's just the questions arise. It's why can't this happen? I'm in so much pain, dude. It's like I'm so upset. I hate this.
We can only hope and wish and pray.
Yeah.
And like, write your local. Actually, this is a great idea. If you live in the state of Minnesota, write the governor. Recommend that the governor write the president. And I know that I'm going to get a ton of flack for this. We need to get Kirill in the country more than we need Brittany Griner back. All right, like it's all honesty.
Okay.
In all honesty,
Let's get them both. If it was LeBron, he would be back tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
But like,
I'd say Russia could keep him.
We won't do it. You know what? I have another can of worms. I don't want you to get too much flack early on. We just started the show. We might get to it later. Oh, man.
Yeah, man. So the other things that have been going on outside of Kirill and his inability to rejoin the Minnesota Wild is some re-signings and some trades. This is a great day to break this news because Mike isn't here. I actually have like a sneaky suspicion that he missed this show on purpose due to sheer frustration that we re-signed Marc Andre-Fleury and then traded Cam Talbot, which was the exact opposite of the skid that Mike was attempting to steer into all offseason with his whole I hate winning narrative. But he's back for 2 years on a favorable deal, which let's start there. How do you feel about having Flower back in goal, even if it is in a 50% share or a bringing along the young guy role for the Minnesota Wild as if they get Kirill back in an attempt to still compete?
So I think there's people with the mentality of the win now. And so and Mike is definitely falling into that. I'm not trying to just shit on Mike this whole time, but like the whole concept of having Fleury and Talbot, it's the same thing that Vegas did when they had Fleury and Robin Lehner. And eventually somebody's going to get frustrated. And I would rather one of the best goalies of all time and the best goalie of our I'd say of our generation. I mean, I don't really put Marty Brodeur in there because I think he's a previous generation. But like Fleury is, been one of the, I think save percentage wise, he's third all time. So like he's one of the best of all time. I would rather invest in him for the next 2 years and have him teach Philip Gustafson and Jesper Wallstedt how to do things between the pipes than Cam Talbot. And that's no knock towards Cam Talbot. Cam Talbot has been an underrated goalie his entire career. Back in 2017, when he was with the Oilers, he had one of his best seasons. He played 73 games.
Yes.
He had like a .917 save percentage. The fact that he wasn't even nominated for the Vezina is ludicrous.
It's okay. He won it in 2021, and then everybody wanted to shit on him in 2022 because all of a sudden he was washed. It's not true. Minnesota doesn't know how to play defense.
No, there's a lot of layers to it. And I would rather
like an onion.
Yeah, exactly. Hockey players are like onions.
We have layers.
We have layers. But point is that I would rather have one of the best of all time in between the pipes for 2 more years.
Yes.
And then bring up Wallstedt, who they have a lot of investments in. And then this Philip Gustafson kid, he's 24, big dude from Sweden. Like, that's what you want. So let's build that up. I like that trade. I think it benefits Ottawa. It benefits the Wild in the long run. And you can't just go with the win now, right now, because
Mhm.
like you can't do that. And then, as you see on the screen, trade Kevin Fiala.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Fiala's soft as baby shit.
Okay,
All right.
get
Like,
out of here, bro.
I think, you know what? It's great to we'll go there next, and we'll circle back to the guy we traded for. The Fiala signing or trade for me, I was doing backflips in my living room, because if you go back to that playoff series against the Blues and you go, what was the biggest criticism? It was two things for anybody who wasn't Cam Talbot and Dean Evison and these other guys. It was the want to win, like the overall energy, hustle, banging, and the physicality. Who led the charge in being the softest guy in the room in that series under those two circumstances? It was Fiala. Scoring 40 goals in the regular season is great, but it doesn't amount to jack shit if you're not doing anything, and I mean anything, in the playoffs.
Okay. I am a person that believes that the Wild overperformed last year. The reason why they did so.
You are sitting in Mike's chair.
Yeah, they overperformed. They did. You're going to tell me that Ryan Hartman is going to score 30 goals again this season?
Yeah.
You're crazy. You're nuts. That's just, no.
Boldy will replace Fiala. Bold statement.
Sure.
Boldy will replace Fiala's 40 goals next year.
I don't disagree that that's a possibility, but I'd rather have the certainty of 85 points. Now, I see, like, the trade was a good trade, right?
Yes.
You got a first-round pick. You got Brock Faber. Maple Grove alum, go Crimson. Crimson. Words are hard. Point being, local guy. Love to see it. But Fiala, you can't teach 85 points. You can't get it there. And I think it's something that, I understand the concern in the playoffs. I really do. With that said, it was his first, other than the bubble, it was his first real experience in the playoffs. So, I would say, and yeah, 2021, I mean, you dipped your toe into it a little bit and everything. You faced a Vegas team that was just a wagon. And
if we remember correctly, we got fucking pistol whipped in that series too. It's a physicality thing, and you have to have tone setters. I don't agree.
Bill is definitely a physical guy. He wants physicality. Yes. He was a physical player. He wants the same from his players.
Yes.
I mean, he's been on record arguing about how Dumba is a better fit for the team than Fiala. I'm a big Dumba fan, but also if life depended on him actually doing something non-offensive, he'd be dead yesterday. So I don't know, man. It's just it's an interesting dynamic, but I think at the end of the day, 85 points is 85 points. It helps you in the long run.
I don't disagree. I don't think we got. Here's the thing: there are obviously Fiala stands in the state of Minnesota that will die on the hill of we shouldn't have got rid of him. There's an equal amount of people that are like good fucking riddance. And with that being the case, and you can't necessarily objectively say with the guys we have coming up, Russo will get another shot next year. Baldy's going to get more minutes. Greenway is going to continue to develop. Carrillo's only going to get better. You do lighten your salary cap in a year or 2 years where you are going to, where you're going to, your salary cap is weakened because of the two buyouts. And then Gabe, can you actually grab that bottle of Fiji water off the stand behind you when you're done? It's not a bad idea, man. It really isn't.
Oh, thanks,
It's a break even, right? You could argue that we got better, but you definitely can't argue that we got worse, I guess, is the way that I would see this for Fiala.
I get where it's coming from. I get the concept. I mean, at the end of the day, you are going to have to pay him a lot of money.
A lot.
LA has way more cap space than we do. So it makes a lot of sense. I'm just saying that it might have been worth the investment. I'm not saying it, in the long run, it would be the best investment. But I am saying that, I am a little bit more hung up on that than I think a lot of people are.
Keep it, man.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Staying hydrated,
He's got some drink. Now he's got some drink in his cup. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So, and then let's talk about the Gustafsson thing, because that was kind of like the move that followed. A little bit of goalie drama. We get, what's his first name? Stefan Gustafsson?
It's Philip.
Philip Gustafsson.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I was a Cam Talbot fan. Seeing him leave, I was like, ooh, did we get worse? And then I looked into the numbers. Are you ready for this? 24-year-old goalie, Doesn't have a ton of starts, but over the last 2 seasons has a 90% save percentage on average. He's got 2 years remaining on his deal, and he's only getting paid $800,000 per year over the next 2 years. Subjectively, if you were to cast his stats out over a long period, let's say he regresses to 85% save percentage, even if that's the case, when he's splitting time with Fleury, I don't think, because Talbot had stretches in the season where he was at 85%, 80% consistently, and you were paying him what, $3.5 million a year.
Yes.
And you had now the distraction of the goalie controversy in the locker room. I think this kid is only going to learn from Andre-Fleury. That's a plus. I think that he is only going to get better as he's older. That's a plus. He doesn't cost you as much under the cap. That's a plus. On top of all of that, he also is potentially the bridge goalie. Who's the guy that you mentioned earlier that's coming up from the Iowa Wild?
Rolstead, yes, Rolstead.
They think he is the next thing.
Yeah, he's the guy.
All of the scouting reports say like his potential is Fleury light. And even if you're Andre-Fleury light, you're a 10-year consistent starter style goalie in the NHL, right?
Exactly.
And if that's who you've chosen as your bridge goalie to then, next year potentially go out and they say that the cup follows stars. You've gotten rid of Fiala's salary. You've gotten rid of Cam Talbot's salary. You kind of see the way that this is trending, and you can go get a legitimate piece for Kirill if he comes back. Then now you're talking about a contender to a potential odds-on favorite in Minnesota because Russo's coming, Boldy's coming, Dumba. You know what I mean? Like there are enough cogs in the machine now to make this work.
You're building enough, and that's the thing too. Is like everybody looks at 900. If you're at 85 or like an 850 save percentage or something like that, you're out of the league. So like if you're around 900, it's not the ideal situation. But also people forget he played for Ottawa.
They also don't play defense.
Yeah, Thomas Chabot is it. Like literally that one dude.
Yeah, it's true.
And so I mean,
he might as well have been on the Seattle Kraken last year.
No, honestly, which I mean, they're making moves too. But yeah, man, I mean, at the end of the day, this is the right move. It sucks because I am a big Cam Talbot fan, but also first of all, the Ghostbusters mask is like the greatest thing in the NHL. But at the same time, it just there needs to be some changes. Needs to be like definitive. Who is the guy? And it's Fleury. And like, if you ask 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 people, because I guess Mike's there. 9 out of 10 people, they're going to take Fleury.
Mike, we just want to know if you're watching this at home. Why do you hate winning? Why do you hate winning?
I'm not sorry.
All right. So, I mean, and that was really it. We did re-sign Middleton, which I think is a good move. He did show flashes down the stretch last year as a guy that could maybe be upper level depth instead of just like deep bench depth, which was the role he played towards the end of last year. I think he fits really well into Billy Guerin's system. Like I said, I don't think the Wild got any worse.
No, I think I'm bummed about the Nick Delorier,
true.
departure.
Yes.
He's going to my hometown team, the Philadelphia Flyers. But like, and he's going to fit in great there. I mean, fans will love him. But he was a rental piece in the beginning, to begin with. So I think bringing back Middleton does bring what you wanted in that sort of way. So
perfect. Makes sense. So let us know what you guys think about the Minnesota Wild, some of the moves from the offseason. We'll get back to you here in the show or in the comment section after, and then we can bounce on over to baseball. I'm actually excited to talk about this because I am the Miranda stan in Minnesota, and I got me a moment yesterday against one of the best closers in the league. So let's start there. Big shout out to Jose Miranda getting his first career walk-off, not just any walk-off, in Upper Decker, a second tank level, just no doubt you nodding down the first baseline like an absolute dude. As soon as he hit that ball against a team that is going to be a perennial championship contender for the next 2 to 3 years with 100%. The roster that they have in the Milwaukee Brewers. But outside of that, what did you think of the Rangers series and game 1 against the Brewers before we get into what's going on with the White Sox?
For sure. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that, you never want to like lose a series to a team like the Rangers. The Rangers are one of the, I think they're underperforming, but they're also just not a team you like to see.
Yeah.
Corey Seager has been playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see, he's been, I think it's like a 5 or 6 game home run streak at this point. The consistency's there, and the lack of consistency showed with the Twins during that series.
Yep.
Obviously, like you had some great news with like Luis and Byron both getting on the all-star team, but like
Yes.
obviously sometimes it's just you run into those series that feel like kind of traps, and I feel like that Rangers series was exactly what it was. So
Yeah, and right now it's all really falling in series like that. It is all falling on the pitching. Listen, I know the Twins have a young starting rotation right now. Consistently, it consists of Josh Winder first year, Joe Ryan second year, Smeltzer, who was his rookie year was in 2017, but really has struggled to get back into the big leagues until now. So a really inexperienced starting rotation, and then a really, really leaky bullpen.
yeah.
I love Rocco. Me and Mike addressed this 2 weeks ago. When you get your guys on the bump, and right now I would, as far as the guys go, Winder has been pretty good. Ryan has been pretty good. Chris Archer has had his moments. When they pitch well, because of the inconsistency of your bullpen, if it is still a close game and it's the fifth, you can't pull them. You just got to let them ride. There's no reason, because the only thing that you're doing is increasing the amount of times that hitters are going to get to see below average arms that are coming out of the pen, because Twins haven't made a move to address that yet. And unless you're going to see Duran, who, puts up one subpar performance every 2 weeks.
But you can't
Everyone else
have
sucks.
him be the one, right? Like you can't just go to like Danny Colome and hope for the best. You can't go to Caleb Thielbar, hope for the best. I'd rather put in my grandma than watch Tyler Duffy pitch. Like it's just like.
By the way, did you hear Joe Mauer call him a pillar of the Twins organization on the YouTube broadcast yesterday?
Joe, he's just adding to your argument. Like
nobody likes Joe. All right.
Everybody buys his Chevys though, man. Like for real. Come on.
Damn. Those are his brothers.
F-150.
Those are his brothers, which I would argue were the more talented ones to begin with.
Settle. Okay. Like, listen, Joe Mauer is still incredible. But yeah, there's just a lot. And like the inconsistencies in the bullpen are the downfall of every, like, just about their team.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, if you look at example, the White Sox bullpen has been subpar this year. And like, granted, they have a lot of big names. You know, they have the Kendall Gravemans, they have
Ronaldo
the Liam
Lopez.
Hendricks, you know, Ronaldo Lopez, Aaron Bummer. Like, they have a lot of skill in there. The problem is that they're underperforming.
Yes.
The problem with the Twins is I don't think they have enough skill to perform at a higher level out of the bullpen. So I think that's when you go into a situation, you're like, okay, what can we do? And look at, like, say AAA or AA. How can we bring up some of these guys that maybe in September, you know, like when you're going down the stretch and everything, add into the roster, why don't you bring up a Simeon Woods Richardson? You know, see how he does.
Oh, you read my mind. We literally said this last week, man, where I was like, listen, it's time to give those guys a shot and at least make them bullpen arms. If you're truly going to make a run at it, and if you make a run at it, it's only going to increase your chances to re-sign Carlos Correa, right? I think that is something that the front office needs to be very aware of. If you don't compete, he will not return.
Right.
No matter his performance. Your best chance is to get into the playoffs, compete in a first round series, and him be able to go, this is something we can work with as we get a little bit better. You know what I mean? Call those guys up. Miguel Sano is healthy. He's playing AAA ball. Trade his ass for some bullpen arms. We don't need him anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? And
I've been a Miguel Sano hater for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I you know, if you want 200 batting average, maybe 20 home runs, sure, have him take it. You know, but he's
Sano or Byron Buxton, because they're the same player right now.
That's fair. That's fair. You could argue that there's more investment in the one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Buxton is younger too. I forget how young Buxton is too. Like
28.
I feel like he's like freaking 34,
Yep.
you know, because he's been in the league for so long. No, like Miguel Sano is a bench bat at best. And it's just like, give somebody that bench bat, maybe trade him to, like, I don't know, San Diego, and see if you can get Austin Adams, or see if you can get not Taylor Rogers back, but, like, you know, see if you can trade him out that way.
Yeah.
See what other teams, you know, like Seattle who's having an under year or something like that. Maybe you can get a Paul Sewald if you trade, like, you know, Sano, maybe a prospect. Like, make that run. Put them in that situation to succeed. Like, I don't know, man. It's just crazy to me that they're just so settling on mediocrity in this situation out of the bullpen.
It's not necessarily settling on mediocrity out of the bullpen, as I think, and me and Gabe have talked about this 100 times on this show. Minnesota as a whole has been so bad and we've talked about this as well, collectively as a state that has all four major sports, has the worst track record of sports in big moments or winning championships or whatever in history. You know, at least Cleveland had the Browns early. At least Detroit had the Red Wings. At least the Cubs before they, have a World Series recently. You know what I mean? All of these different things. Minnesota's got the Twins in 94, and then like the Wild, the Timberwolves, and the Vikings don't have any championships. You know what I mean? So like it's really bad. The bar has been set so low that being in first place at the All-Star break with talent that is performing slightly above par is reason to celebrate. And and we've talked about the other Minnesota medias are a big pusher in that narrative.
I work with some of them. Be nice.
But they're big pushers of that narrative. And until that narrative changes, which will change the views of the public, the teams will not feel they need to change.
Yeah, but like I don't think you can trickle down so much with them. I think that comes from the top down, right? And when it comes down to the ownership and just their lack of investments in the community, I could go into the various different things with I forget their freaking names, whatever, it doesn't really matter.
Who, the Pohlads?
Those guys. Yes, exactly. Their investments don't go as far into the community as like maybe they present from time to time. And so I feel like if you keep on having that culture from the top down, it's just going to be that. So I don't think it's so much the media as I think there is a settling aspect that we have amongst, Minnesota fans naturally, but I think that comes from the top down. So I don't know, man, but like it is kind of scary when you look and you're like, oh man, they're 49-41. Hell yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And like, let's not act like the Guardians are going to the Guardians are a wagon. Oh God.
Don't die.
No, it's all good. I'm getting choked up thinking about the fact that Twins fans think this is a good, way to go into the All-Star break. But if I'm being 100% here, the Guardians aren't going to be, mediocre for long. They got a lot of good young guys. Their whole roster is pretty young for the most part. And you know what else they have? They have a really good bullpen. And Morgan Sandlin and Karinchak and Clase are all fantastic arms.
And their pitching rotation isn't bad. Clevenger and some of those other, you know what I mean?
Clevenger is with San Diego.
That's not who I'm thinking of.
Shane Bieber.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
some of those other arms, you're like, oh, well, they will be able to figure it out. So there is that piece. Quick shout out to the guys, the team leaders on the board up there. Hits, of course, Luis Ariz. Who would have guessed?
Singles god.
I'm actually very excited to see him to continue the Joe Mauer hate on this show. To see him surpass Joe Mauer for batting titles in a Twins uniform, so maybe we no longer have to hear about Joe.
I'm just ready for the Luis Ariz card in MLB The Show, where it's just 125 contact and like 20 power. I can't wait for that.
Very true. Jorge Polanco has been swinging a hot bat coming off the IL. For home runs, actually, he's up there, but Jose Miranda is also tied for him for number of home runs. He's swinging the best bat on the team over the last 19 games after his slow start. He's actually the team leader in RBIs right now. And then Josh Winder is one of our better pitchers. I would throw Joe Ryan in there after yesterday, his ability to work out of some jams against a very good team as well. So shout out to those guys as they seem to be the ones that are carrying the team. Notice the last 2 weeks that we have done this. A name that is not up there is Byron Buxton. He will continue to get a little bit of heat on this show until he does something other than just hit home runs. And then we've got the Chicago White Sox coming up in division or whatever you want to call it, series heading into the All-Star break. 4 games. I think that kicks off tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, tonight at 6:40.
4 games at home with I think it's a 4-game lead. How do you think that they should shake this out or how do you think this should shake out going into the All-Star break?
I mean, here's the thing. They've performed well against the White Sox all season long.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's a trend that should keep going. But also, again, some teams especially in this division, they're feeling hungry right now, right? So, going into the All-Star break, the White Sox just might need to change up the narrative a little bit. But I'm not too worried. If I'm the Twins, I'm not too worried. At the end of the day, it's just been kind of been a rough go for White Sox fans. I mean, dude, some of the ones I follow on TikTok, they're just in so much pain. It's just all their videos are just them crying.
I love watching it.
So yeah, no, for sure. But I think they split this series. So I think they, the White Sox coming in hot tonight, and then I think Twins take the next 2, and then they wrap up the weekend going into the All-Star break. I think the White Sox need that little bit of momentum. So
I think a split is bare minimum here. Yeah. Me and Mike have talked about this pretty much all first half of the season. You got to get as far out in front before the All-Star break so you can reassess things heading into the trade deadline. And then, Chicago's not going to stay a seller team.
No.
Yoan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, all of their talent eventually is going to put it together, and eventually they're not going to have 13 guys on the IL. You know what I mean? So you got to get out as far as you can, because you might as well consider them the Usain Bolt of your division, right? Post trade deadline or All-Star break, because they could, with the talent they have in their farm system, and they could make some moves as well, shaking up the roster if that's something that they wanted to do. So there's a lot of potential for them to come roaring back and be like a 40-win team on the back end, or a 50-win team on the back end of the All-Star break, and catch the Twins. So I think they at the very minimum need to split this series.
Yeah, and the thing is too is that when you look at the starting rotation too, like Johnny Cueto is overperforming right now.
Yes.
Lance Lynn is not going to play like trash for the rest of the season.
Correct.
Especially in the second half. He's a second half type of player. Kopech has some heat.
Yeah.
There's a lot of they have solid stuff that they can put together. I think just for this, because of momentum's sake and everything, I think Cueto obviously comes out hot tonight. So, we'll see what's up. But yeah, man, I'm not you need to make sure that you at least split this for sure. I totally agree with you. I hate to be the guy to agree with what you're saying, because I know Mike likes to dissent and everything, but also this is just kind of a mediocre running the schedule. We know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's pretty predictable.
So Gabe asks everybody, for those of you that aren't watching, shame on you, by the way, head on over to Facebook and watch this live. What do we need for the trade deadline?
If your answer is anything other than bullpen pieces, I'm concerned.
Arms. Plain and simple, arms. I don't care if they're bullpen arms. I don't care if they're starting arms. We need arms. I think up and down, and I think the pieces that should be looked at to be moved. Don't be afraid to move Sonny Gray. Has proved that he cannot stay healthy. It's Miguel Sano. We have a stockpile of middle infield talent. I've said it before. If Miranda continues to play like this, don't be surprised if Gio Urshela's name gets tossed into some of this, because guess who your eventual long-term third baseman is probably going to be? Jose Miranda. Austin Martin has seemed to lose some steam down in AA ball. I don't want to quit on him so early, because I think he could be like a Bo Bichette style,
You can't play that many positions and
not make
You're gonna be obviously get calls about him, but you want to keep him at all costs. I think
absolutely. But other guys, if Balazovic is not ready to make the jump at this point, I would start looking at him to move, to bring back some right now, or so not necessarily rental pieces, but go after some guys that you're gonna have for 2 years minimum. So you can look into next year and know what you have on the board. Arms. I think the Twins lineup, if backed by the right pitching, is formidable.
I 100% agree with you. I think if at the end of the day, if you can make your way into the bullpen, maybe secure a good 3 or 4, in the starting rotation, I think you're in a good spot. Who would you trade for who? I'd trade Miguel. I said it earlier. I would trade Miguel Sano and maybe a prospect for Paul Sewald, or something. I think you go to the AL West, because I think there's some good arms in that whole entire division. And I think Seattle has the best upside with a lot of them. So I think you go tap into them. I mean, I know they just spent a lot of money on Jesse Winker. I know they just spent a lot of money on Suarez as well. Or was that a trade? Either way, they took on the contracts. If it was a trade. So I think you go into there. You mess around with either Sewald or I think even tapping into the starting rotation a little bit. You're not going to get a Logan Gilbert, but if you can trade some prospects for that George Kirby kid, I think you got some potential there too. So I think you tap over there. And I think, at the end of the day, Sano and maybe a prospect, I would try to keep Austin Martin's name out of the conversation. But if you can do Balazovic or something, see what's up there, try it out.
I don't have a particular name in mind, but I think it's time to start digging around to teams that might be in quote unquote fire sale mode.
Yeah.
Teams that may have had some injuries or underperforming, know that they're probably not going to be able to make it. I would go, think bigger.
I was going to mention the Angels. I was going to say Brandon Marsh, but I mean, that's
I don't think they're going to move off Mike Trout. That'll be a free agent style thing. But listen,
what are they going to do?
Who, the Angels?
Yeah.
They got him locked up for life. Yeah. So
I know, but I mean, they are going to break that up probably. I mean,
yeah, but I think that comes in the form of Shohei Ohtani leaving more than it comes down to Mike Trout ever leaving.
Which is looking
think
more
so?
likely. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I feel like Ohtani has been pretty open. Even
He wants to play in a bigger market.
Yeah, I mean, and not
Bigger
that
than
like
Los Angeles?
it's
But-
Anaheim.
But
It's
okay,
like, it's
I was
a
gonna say
suburb.
Los Angeles.
him playing for the
Kind of.
but him playing for the Angels, Gabe, would be like him playing for the Clippers. Yeah, you're in the city,
Yeah.
but you're not everybody's favorite team
Since when?
since forever.
No, hang on. I'm saying, since when have these teams been this loyal?
What do you mean?
Well, we're just acting like, well, they'd never get rid of Mike Trout when
Well, he's their
that's
guy.
that's like the trend in all these teams, though, is that they get old. I mean, think Belichick. I mean, that's like the way, that's the approach pro sports takes now.
Yeah, but
And by the way, this was mostly a piss take, but
No, for sure.
yeah,
I-
it is interesting to me.
It is. I think the thing is that like there will come a time when there's a conversation about Mike Trout moving
Yes.
from LA. I don't think it's within the next 2 to 3 years. I think when you're talking about him being 34, 35 and the Angels have still not made the playoffs, or like they've had like, you know, some sort of like out in the ALDS, or they've like got swept in the ALCS.
yeah.
I feel like once they taste the postseason, I think the likelihood of Mike Trout moving increases because they're not going to actually win it all. There's no chance. They
Yeah.
don't have the pieces.
How old is he?
He's 31.
He's 31.
Yeah, so-
It's the perfect time to trade him.
Yeah.
I would
truly,
agree.
They could empty our farm system. We would be like, I mean, for real, you could get a bunch of top flight, people, and
Yeah.
Shohei's younger, so to build around him. Although he's probably not much younger.
But here's the
27.
thing,
He's
in-
our age, which is crazy.
In
Yeah.
baseball
Yeah.
years, Gabe, think about it this way: the demand that he is putting on his body as a guy that has already had two Tommy John surgeries for him? One.
Who?
Shohei.
He's has he had Tommy John?
He has. He had one in minor
I didn't
leagues.
know that.
I was
Yes.
gonna say he probably had in Japan. Yeah, I know he had in Japan, but
And I think, or there was health issues. There was inability for him to stay healthy long term, or stay healthy in the minors. So
What about Mike Trout?
I totally agree with you.
there's there. Yeah.
But the reason I don't think Mike Trout moves is because I think they look at him as the true cornerstone. Right now, if you were to say, hey, sell high value, right? Who are you going to get more for? Shohei Ohtani to surround Trout? Or are you going to get more for Mike Trout to surround Shohei Ohtani, who's going to have a shorter shelf life because of the demand that he puts on his body? That's how I look at it.
I will argue that I think Shohei Ohtani is a unicorn, and like
Yeah.
no matter what the demand is. But I will also agree with you in saying that like you're gonna get more for Ohtani than you would for Trout.
Absolutely.
But-
No.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because of
you're
the splash factor. Like, the splash factor would be insane, and it would just be the same.
Yeah.
I think it'd be the same.
I think you could actually get more for Ohtani because you can argue that you're getting two players.
Yes.
You're getting 40 home runs. You're also getting
Sure.
15 wins. So I think
agree.
in that sense, you
In
could
that-
go, yeah. So,
In that. But did you hear and to bolster what you just said, did you hear about the tickets he sold in Miami? Marlins.
Oh, for the All-Star game?
So, like, their average Wednesday, no, because he was there for a day game on a
Oh,
Wednesday.
yeah.
Their average attendance was something like 6,000. And then Shohei was pitching that Wednesday, and it was 20,000.
dude,
I'm telling you,
Like,
man.
that's a crazy amount of tickets to sell.
I saw Shohei last year when the Angels played the Twins here at Target Field, and he hit an absolute dong. And it was like, God, like watching him play is insane.
A guy that never takes batting
That's why-
practice.
Yeah.
That's why if I'm a GM, I mean, and believe me, I know what Mike Trout is. I'm not saying he's not incredible.
Mm.
I'm just saying, and I know how iconic he is. But if you're a GM who's actually trying to build your team, and they're not going to the show this year,
Right.
probably not going next year unless you have some serious fucking major free agent moves.
Yeah.
Major free agent moves. This is the time to actually get rid of them and replenish. And Shohei, all his metrics, his exit velo, the way he fucking throws the ball. He runs fast, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I legitimately think the only teams that could get Mike, this is going to sound psycho, but like I think the only team that could legitimately make a case to have enough pieces to get Trout or Ohtani is the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah.
That does sound insane.
Like I mean, at the end of the day, Mount Castle,
Miami.
yeah, exactly.
Miami's got a ton of arms.
and Miami would be a fun one too but the thing is that Miami's not going to want to give up Jazz, and that's exactly what they would want.
Yep.
And Jazz is my favorite player in the league. He's got so
I
much
love him
swag.
too.
He's
Oh, we're getting ready to
so
talk about him in a
fun,
minute.
dude.
Yeah.
He's just the best. But yeah, like Baltimore has Austin Hayes, Ryan Mountcastle, Cedric Mullins. Like they have like so many young
Bam Bam.
pieces. Yeah, man, there's so much there, bro.
Let's just all admit he's going to end up a fucking Yankee and move on.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
It is
Yeah.
what it is.
Sure.
Okay.
Actually, speaking of Jazz Chisholm, by the way, and some of the other guys, there's an All-Star series coming up.
Let's go.
I wanted to get Gabe's opinion on this specifically, starting with the home run derby. Did they get the crop of hitters right for this, or did this just fall on its face?
So I have the headlines on that, but I
Yeah.
actually haven't read these specific things yet. So I'd actually have to have you fall in for me. But I've been confused by the home run derby in many recent years because it doesn't seem to have the same rules that they had when I was coming up.
Yeah, they've
it's
changed
great.
it a lot. I think they're trying to find a new format that is attractive to the watchers, that is a tad bit more engaging, I think. And they're struggling through that right now. A lot like what the NBA did the first time they tried the play-in tournament. It was a little weird. Nobody really understood how it worked. You know, you think about hockey the first time they tried like the 3-on-3 thing at the All-Star game. Everybody was like, I don't get it.
Right.
Or the skills challenge the first time that came about at the Pro Bowl for football. So it's something that we're just going to have to bear through as they try to figure it out. I was more concerned about the crop of hitters, that they chose for this year. I like Pete Alonso. Acuna is good for the sport because he can absolutely mash. Juan Soto's good. I like that. But some of the other guys, Kyle Schwarber.
Okay.
Great
Are you
hitter, but
shitting
boring
me?
name.
Kyle Schwarber only hits home runs.
Yeah.
Have you looked at his average? It is just home runs.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I want literally when Kyle Schwarber and mind you, I mean I know Gabe's got love because he's a Cubs fan,
Yes.
but Kyle Schwarber's swing is so disgusting that literally he just uppercuts that shit. So
He's Prince Fielder.
Yeah, and Prince Fielder was fun as shit to watch in the home run derby.
The thing so I will draw a comparison here. When I watch the 3-point competition at the NBA, I love seeing Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. I liked seeing Kat because those guys have other assets, other facets to their game, and they happen to be elite. But when I see Joe Harris win a 3-point competition, I'm like,
outta here,
what
bro.
the fuck?
What do you mean? Literally, it's Kyle Schwarber's specialty. It's literally what he does. I want to see that. I don't. I don't need to see because Acuna is a multifaceted player.
Mm-hmm.
He's fun to watch. It's great and everything like that. I don't want to see Acuna hit tanks. I mean, I could see him hit tanks and do all of his stuff in the field when he's playing.
Fair.
I want to see guys who literally their whole job is like when Miguel Sano did it the other year. Or back what was it, 2017?
Yeah.
Something like that. I want to see guys that literally all they do is just hit nukes. I want to see Daniel Vogel back. I want to see I want to see Vogie go out there and just hit absolute ding dongs. That's what I want. And here's the thing is I think the rest of the crop is a little strange because you look at J-Rod, I think it's fun to put a rookie in there, and then J-Ram as well.
I like that J-Rod is in there.
Yeah.
I really like that he's in there. Gabe knows why. I have a vested interest in Julio Rodriguez.
He's incredible.
I think one way to look at the Schwarber thing though too, because I totally agree. Just the sound of his name is boring. It sounds like a dork.
Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, Kyle Schwarber. Kyle. He's got nothing going for him in that regard. But this could be sort of his emergence as a power hitter like that. But what I was going to say is more interesting question is who's missing from the home run derby?
Judge.
Vogie.
Oh, Judge.
I think
Judge.
Why didn't I think of Judge? Why is he not doing it?
He doesn't want to.
Yeah,
he just pulled his name out.
He's done it before.
I think a guy like Buck, granted he's only hitting 200, you just made the Schwarber argument.
Yeah.
To see Byron Buxton in the home run derby after hitting 22 how often do the Twins ever have a guy that hits 22 at the All-Star break? Never. We've got 3 guys that have ever hit 30. You know what I mean?
I'd love to see a Goldie, like Paul Goldschmidt.
Yep.
I think Corey Seager with the way he's been swinging the bat recently.
Yep.
Again, when you look at guys that just have uppercut swings, I love Cody Bellinger. I know he's trash,
Yep.
but like also like I think he just would be super fun in the Derby as well because again you get that uppercut swing. I just want guys that want to swing for like basically like I because I remember when I was a kid, Bobby Abreu did the home run derby for the Phillies. And he won the home run derby and then proceeded to just shit the bed the rest of the season.
Yep.
I kind of want to see that for some guys who like it already doesn't matter for them that much. And like the thing is that the Phillies are already out of like the water in the NL East and everything.
Without Harper, they're up Shit's Creek without a paddle.
I feel like you could put Castellanos in there because, but all you have to do is tell him that a bunch of orphans died in a fire before he hit a home run. You just got to tell him like a tragedy of some kind.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then he'll proceed to like just hit 30. So
what about Pujols? What do we think about Pujols getting his?
That
getting
could
his
be
flowers?
cool as
It's
a
fun.
goodbye.
I really
It's
think
fun.
that's cool.
Yeah.
And that led me to this idea because I know like everybody's messing with the structure of the home run derby, right? And no better time of year is there that everybody buys in more than like the true bracket style than March Madness, right?
Right.
So I was thinking about this, and then I was thinking about the Pujols thing, and then I was looking at J-Rod, and I was going, you know what the home run derby needs? They need a little bit of it. They need to bring the bracket system back a little bit.
Mhm.
I think a cool way to do it would be to have like an AL rookies, like 3 rookies, guys under the 3-year window, and then guys, you know, a team of 3 vets, AL and NL. Have the AL and NL teams against each other, rookies, vets, and then bracket it into, if the AL rookies win and the NL vets win, they square off against each other in a team home run challenge. The winner of that, then it's just those 3 guys in a swing off style home run derby to crown the champ.
Sure.
Like I think that put a little bit more on the line, whether that's money or whatever the case may be. I think that would be a really cool way to see it because then you're always getting the future of the sport. Like how cool would it have been to see a team this year that had Jazz Chisholm on it or Jose Miranda, who's a rookie, who can absolutely mash or whatever, or go to like the NBA team captain style where the fans elect a home run hitter from each division and they pick their team. I know they did that one year where it was like Bonds or it was Ortiz and
I think it was Ortiz and Fielder. I think it was
Ortiz and Fielder. And that was a really fun derby to watch. Just they got to do something like that because the way that they're doing it now, I'm not a huge fan of.
Do you mind if I one up your idea?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, because this is much better idea.
That's all you ever do.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, I love your idea. And I was going to break in to say this idea, and now I want them together. I'd love to see, and this could be shit on big time probably, but how about bringing an old timer in, like a Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah,
sort of
I've thought about that a ton.
Even to have a Legends mini version of the Derby, I think would be really fun with them mic'd up. But the other idea is like I'm wondering is exactly what you're saying, the team thing. Mm-hmm. I don't remember how that played out when they did it, but I feel like if there was a real a team home run, a team dynamic within it, I think could be really fun, or maybe like add some excitement. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I always liked it because I might be wrong on this, but I've always thought it should be the home run derby. The winner AL or NL predicts if you are the home or the away, gives you the choice to pick the home or away team in the All-Star game. If you are the home or away team in the All-Star game, the winner of that game gets home field advantage in the World Series, which I think the MLB should move to a neutral site, just like a lot of other sports do.
Yeah,
I've always thought that.
I mean, I'm glad they got rid of the whole like home field advantage thing anyway. I think that was stupid as hell. It was kind of like cute for like the first couple years, and then like the first year they did it also, it ended in a tie.
Yeah.
Like literally like just the most MLB thing ever. But yeah, I think that would be fun. I wish they would return to like the 10 outs.
Yes.
I wish that was
the 10 outs was the best.
I hate the clock. I think it's stupid. I think like it just adds value to every ball.
Yes.
And so I think that just kind of like adds a sense of urgency. I get it adds urgency putting a clock there, but also like, some pitchers or like some like batting practice pitchers might be throwing you some trash. You know what I mean? And it's like, it puts more value into everything.
Yes.
So I think it's just better that way.
I would agree. All right, moving on to the All-Star game itself. The rosters were announced. We can start with the AL or the whichever image or graphic Gabe puts up first. Anybody that surprised you on All-Stars for their first or whatever, just an All-Star selection in general?
I'm just shocked that Luis Ariz ended up on the team. I think that's like a big one. Where it's just,
I'm not.
I mean, no, I'm shocked. I'm not shocked that he's on it. I'm shocked that they decided to actually go with it. Because we love him here. He's super fun to watch here in Minnesota. But at the same time, for an all-star game, it's not like the most sexy pick, right?
Yeah.
Because he's not like hitting tanks. He's not doing things like that. The man gets on base. He does what he needs to do. And I think that's super fun. The only thing I have with the AL is where the hell is Ty France?
Good
Why
question.
is Ty France not anywhere near
Good
this
question.
roster?
I was wondering that. Yeah.
Literally, he had the best first half of any Mariner. Say what you want about J-Rod. Literally, Ty France is the reason why that team even has like any momentum at all in that division. Maybe it's because I saw them live when I was out in Seattle, and like Ty France was literally the only one that performed that day. So like, I don't know, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I think like looking at his first half, it's just the fact that he got snubbed, and he should be upset. I've seen like the interviews. He is like pissed off, and rightfully
Should
so.
be.
Because he's an incredible hitter. And I think at the end of the day, they should be building their team around him. So
yeah. For the National League here, Gabe, I'll give you your chance. You've been a Jizz Chasm fan for, I think you were the first one on the bandwagon. He makes his first All-Star game at 23? What do you think this guy's future looks like? Is he staying in Miami, or is he just going to be the next Jose Ramirez? Or Hanley Ramirez. Sorry, that's the name I'm thinking of. And then
oh my God, I forgot about him.
Bounce to a much bigger market. Or is he the guy that the Marlins, is he their Jeter? Is he their Ronald Acuna? Is he their guy?
I mean, I think he wants to be.
Yeah.
I think he's happy there. I mean, I haven't heard anything. Maybe something that I haven't heard, but no, I think that guy is built for that city. And I think he's a great fit. And
the blue hair.
In fact, it'd be weird. Hair. I mean, can you imagine him playing for the Twins?
No.
Right. He fits there really well. So,
yeah.
But I also know that I might be confusing him with Tampa Bay, or maybe they both just have stacked farm systems.
They both do.
Okay.
Miami's got a ton of arms on the way. Like in 2 years, Miami could have 3 number 1 pitchers in their rotation, and the other 2 are both 2s.
I argue that they already have 2 of them.
Yeah.
In Alcantara and
Sanchez.
Lopez.
Oh, and Sanchez is on the way.
6-0 Sanchez too. And then Max Meyer, Woodbury, Minnesota reference. There we go. We love getting them in. Yeah, man. I think they both are like stacked in that sense.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about so that I was a Jazz Chisholm bandwagon guy. I'm big into him, but I also question, I don't think I've seen enough to say he could be an MVP candidate one day. I'm not sure anymore.
I think it's hard to make a second baseman MVP in general.
I don't think he stays at that position.
He could move to short.
Middle infield for me is always really weird because I always look at middle infielders and I go, as they age, the natural progression is if they've got the arm, a corner outfield spot on an established team, or third base.
Sure.
You look at Hanley Ramirez, great example, shortstop, or started as a second baseman, shortstop for a long time, and then moved over to first base. You look at Alex Rodriguez, shortstop for a long time, moved over to third base. There's, even Jonathan Schoop playing for the Detroit Tigers right now, second baseman for a long time, now playing first. You know what I mean? So Luis Ariz, another great example. Started as purely a second baseman. Where does he spend most of his time now? First base. I just think it's hard to say that, can you make a second baseman an MVP, I think is a little bit of a snub because I don't know if he'll necessarily stay at second base.
It is harder though.
Yeah, it's a harder sell. I will say though, I think Jazz needs to be looked at in the same way people and kids are looking at Tatis. I think that literally when you think about the future of the game, the swagger that he brings to the game, also just the skill set and everything, he is everything that you want to carry on what baseball should be now.
Yeah.
Me and Gabe, I mean, Gabe and I obviously joke around about the 80s and stuff like that and old baseball and stuff.
Where nobody could swing bats.
Nobody, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Where it was just a bunch of plumbers. But point is that, the game is changing and tradition is being broken because less and less things are being done about like things like a Euro step into the home plate
I
or
like that.
like, a bat flip or like things like that. Yeah, there's a
Give
couple.
me all the bat flips.
Yeah.
Give
like,
me the Infinity Gauntlet. Give me
whatever.
Give me all. I've said it for years. I think the Twins should have like a sledgehammer or something,
Dude.
and like they should bang it, and fireworks should go off in the outfield after the guy crosses home plate or something.
Dude,
like
the Red Sox run a shopping cart through the dugout every
Yep.
time somebody hits a home run. That's lit. That's super fun. Like, do things like that, Like, yeah, there's some jackasses like Amir Garrett and Javi Baez that just cause beef and keep things going forever. But Jazz Chisholm is a guy who's going to lead this league into what it should be entertainment-wise, just as much as it is for the game itself. So, and I think that's just as big as anything else of leaving a legacy.
Absolutely.
He is like the future of the game.
100%.
I mean, totally agree. Guys like that for sure need to be, more spotlight. I don't know. And I don't know what position you'd send him to, I guess.
A third.
Short.
Or short,
Yeah, I think you put him at short in that situation.
And then how about for the American League? J-Rod makes it, and then Alek Manoah, the arm from Toronto.
God, he's disgusting.
He's so good.
He's got 3 pitches. Like he's got 3. He has a fastball, a changeup, and a slider, and that man just sits everybody down.
He's Justin Verlander.
He's nasty as hell.
He's Justin. Like that's. I see that. I see what he is capable of. Like with a 3-pitch arsenal, and I go, that was JV his entire career.
Who put Paul Blackburn on this thing? Oh my God!
I did. Go. The A's needed one. The A's needed one.
Oh my God!
Paul Blackburn, the A's pitcher.
I have no idea what
the
that is.
Fuck.
He
Looks
made the
like
All-Star
that
game.
Mike?
His dad's jersey.
He made the All-Star game.
I mean, yeah, because they have to add people to the All-Star game. They could have literally just spun a wheel and they've been like, oh, Christian Pache, sure, man, why not? No, another guy on here like I think will bring the game into the future, Tim Anderson.
I really like Tim Anderson,
and like it's just he's another one that again has like the right idea. He gets it. He gets what the new generation of baseball is. Dude,
Vladdy Jr.
Vladdy, obviously there. Rafi, 100.
Rafi, I looked at his stats the other day. Dude's hitting 346.
It's crazy to think that like you look at J-Ram and you look at Rafi, and the fact that we had to choose between the two of who starts is wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just crazy because they both had incredible first halves and everything. Yeah, man, Rafi's playing out of his mind. Here's the thing. I think American League wins with flying colors. The thing that sucks though is isn't Jordan hurt? Didn't he just get hurt?
Yeah, he's not playing.
That's a bummer. So, but the American League is just so nasty.
They've got the American League has a brighter future right now, I believe, than the National
100%.
League.
They got some boppers out there, man. Seriously. So that's going to go crazy. I still can't believe you put Paul Blackburn in this graphic. Like, oh my God. Okay, so hypothetical here. Where did the A's move to?
Vegas. We talked about
Vegas.
this.
You think Vegas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Or better yet, Havana. Cuba.
No, what was the other?
Cuba,
What was the other one?
Puerto Rico
Puerto Rico
and Mexico City.
Okay, those are good options. I think like I know Portland has made a pretty good case too. I've heard,
Nobody will watch it.
No, I don't think anybody will watch it, but I've heard the rumblings of Portland trying to invest in things like that.
Oh, check out Glass Half Analytics coming in clutch here.
That's right. I just wanted to kind of display some of our new tech.
Wow.
But this is just the home run leaders for the American League, which did help me answer an earlier question for who's missing. Did I see Vlad Guerrero Jr. in the?
No,
you did not. You did not.
There's no one I'd rather see, probably.
I'm also surprised Rafi Devers isn't in it.
Stanton.
Yeah.
I forgot Rizzo had as good of a first half as he did. Yeah.
Stop it. I know that Judge is hitting tanks because he's the only one on that Twitter account where it says "Will it dong," where his stats say it would be out of like 30 of 32 parks. Everyone else that's hitting home runs for the Yankees right now, it would be out of 1 of 32 parks, and that happens to be in New York. That's because they play in a bandbox.
Be nice to Riz. All right, he's still hitting tanks at 35. He's doing the best he can. I think here's the thing. They're going to go lame. And so it's going to end up being like Adolis Garcia, which, like, no offense, he's had a pretty good first half, but at the same time, it's going to be like the lame last half because nobody else is going to want to do it. Vladdy's not going to want to do it. Rafi's not going to want to do it. Like George Springer's going to be like, all right, you know what? I need some shine for,
Well, not only that, Springer's in Toronto now, but nobody wants to see anybody associated with the Houston Astros in the spotlight for the next
No.
5 years.
No, I mean, you could maybe get away with Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker's one of those where it's just
Maybe.
like he was there after the fact, right?
Yeah.
Was he on that team in 2017? I don't think he was. So yeah, like Kyle Tucker's one of those where it's like, okay, you get a little bit of a pass here.
Did Altuve win a MVP?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
What position was he playing?
Second base.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
sure.
No.
Damn.
Got
Oh,
him.
you made-
Got him.
I know.
I saw it on
I
the
honestly didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
I didn't either.
Gabe said, "Hey, see that bus?"
All right, I see how
Yeah.
it is. It's fine.
No.
Gabe's just still bitter that I think all his favorite players would have sucked today. It's fine. Santandes is on that list. Is that Anthony Santander? I see down there.
Yeah.
Damn.
For
Wow.
Baltimore, with a whopping 15 homers.
I thought like Austin Hayes had more. I could see Austin Hayes being in the All-Star, the home run derby.
I was gonna say, is Buxton not on that list? Yes, he is.
Mountcastle's right there. J-Rod.
Polanco, that'd be
There
a
you
good
go.
one. He'd rock that.
Glaber hits some tanks too.
Yeah.
Again, I know he's a Yankee, so like I know you're kind of feeling a certain way there.
The Yankees
Jared
suck.
Walsh. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of sexy names at that point.
All right,
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, that
That's what
works.
it is.
But are we gonna watch? That's the real question. The
Yeah.
MLB has been lacks viewership. Gabe, are you gonna tune into the home run derby in the All-Star break?
I'm a lonely man, so yes, I will. But but yeah,
Yeah, I'll just have it on in the studio. Why not? And it's all good.
Fair. Oh yeah, you'll be on the radio.
Yeah, I just have it in the background. I won't have it on or anything like volume wise, but
If
I need something to keep me entertained.
I hate saying this, if anything comes up, I will not be watching. If I wind up in Gabe's category, the lonely man category,
you're
of
on
course
your way.
I'll watch it.
Oh my
Of course
God.
I'll watch it. All right,
Mike
let's
Trout,
quit.
not in the home run derby. Sorry, just another one.
Trout, he might get hurt,
That's true.
That's true. You don't want to pull a hamstring and
Little
then be
brittle.
out for 2 seasons.
pop an Achilles or tear a
Jesus.
rotator cuff, or
I feel like every one of his injuries just gets smaller and smaller, and then it's just like longer periods of time for healing.
Yeah.
And you guys still don't want to trade him, huh?
So Tommy,
No. All right.
all right, let's kick on over to the NFL
let's do it
and do
man.
some schedule predictions. Gabe,
Hell yeah.
guess what? We got them all on one-sheeters again this week. The social media departments have been listening.
So proud,
I know.
so proud.
It's 2 weeks in a row.
Look at
We're-
you go. Oh my
2 weeks in a
goodness.
row. So we're doing the NFC South. This is one of our final 2 divisions that we'll be doing. We can kind of buzz through this one because I don't think there's a whole lot of good teams in the NFC South
No.
this year.
Anything south in the NFL is tough.
Which is weird because if you go to college football, that's the only place where good football
That's
is
real.
allowed. In the NFL, exact opposite. So we can start with the Atlanta Falcons whenever Gabe is ready. Obviously, they move on from Matt Ryan. Julio Jones no longer there. New head coach, new GM, new stadium. Gonna be a rough season this year.
Yeah, this looks like a whole lot of yikes.
Yeah, so let's start with the first 5 games. They start at home versus New Orleans, on the road to face the Rams and Seattle, home versus Cleveland, and then on the road to take on Tampa Bay. That's a tough break. What do you think here?
Yeah, I think they win against the Browns at home, and that's it. Like
Really?
this is a rough stretch. I mean, the Saints, it is what it is. It's a rivalry game or something. I think to start the season, I think the Saints just have some sort of momentum. The Rams just won a Super Bowl. The Rams are the Rams. You know what? Maybe because like Seattle's a tough look too, but defensively, I think they're still strong enough. So I think Seattle is good there. Yeah, the Browns are the Browns. I think they're just
The Browns will brown.
Yeah, the Browns will brown, and it is what it is. And then Tampa Bay it's Tampa Bay still out there. They're still killing it. So I think 1-4 to start the season.
Yeah, kind of weird that Tom Brady yet again winds up in a division where he winds up with 6 additional bye weeks. But
You said it, not me. You said it, not fuck Tom Brady.
I think they take down New Orleans in week 1 because New Orleans has a lot of new pieces, and everybody needs to remember Kamara might be suspended.
Oh.
Jameis Winston's coming off a ACL injury, and there's no Sean Payton this year.
Yeah.
So I think they'll take New Orleans, loss to the Rams. I think Seattle's run game and defense is good enough to keep them busy. Cleveland, with any quarterback, should be able to beat this Atlanta Falcons team. And Tampa Bay is going to be technically on bye. They could probably start the guy that they drafted from Stanford last year and still win this game. So 1-4 for Atlanta through the first 5 weeks. Listen, guys, I just wrote this down as recipes for bad football. So I want to touch on this. New quarterback, new head coach, new GM. average or below average draft, off-season controversy with their top weapon, legacy player that has left, injury-prone running backs. That's just a lot to try to repair in one season. It's going to be bad.
But dude, Kyle Pitts, it's okay.
Oh, Kyle Pitts. Who's throwing him the football?
Nobody.
I mean, Delaney Walker had some good years with Marcus Mariota, so maybe.
That's true.
Maybe.
That's true.
Next stretch of the schedule, week 6 through 12 here. At home versus San Francisco, on the road against Cincinnati. Again, that's a tough look. They get Carolina, the Chargers at home. Then they go on the road to take on Carolina again, Chicago at home, and then the Washington football team on the road.
All right, so San Fran, no chance.
Yeah.
San Fran's nasty. Same thing with the Bengals. I think they split with Carolina, so they get one out there.
Okay.
I think they get the game at home. Chargers, no way. Bears, I think they get the dub there.
Yep.
I think they get the dub there. And then just to be petty, because I hate Carson Wentz, Washington football team, or the Commanders or whatever the hell they're called now. I think they get the Atlanta gets the dub there too. So what is that, 3? That's
3?
not too bad. That's not a bad little stretch. There you go. Show a little bit of pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had them at 3-9 at the end of this stretch, obviously taking losses to everybody outside of the Carolina game at home. I agree.
Yeah.
Bad teams will split those, usually home away splits in division, and then they will beat Chicago. I don't care if they just traded for N'Keal Harry. Chicago is bad, and by week 11, who knows if Justin Fields is healthy?
Yeah, I mean,
Their head coach is Matt. I was actually rewatching our first installment of this series, and I was like, "Hey, Mike, who's their GM?" And he goes, "Ryan Poles." I was like, "Who's their biggest off-season signing?" He goes, "Dakota Dozier." I go, "Who's their head coach?" He goes, "Matt Eberflus." And Mike just starts to laugh. Mike, a football mind, just began to laugh at how just bad of a setup that is. So Atlanta is good enough to beat a very bad Chicago team, 3-9. Last stretch of the schedule, Pittsburgh at home. Then they get their bye week 14. Wow, that's a really late bye for a team that's going to need one probably way earlier than that.
100%.
On the road to take on New Orleans and Baltimore. Then they come home and end the season against Arizona and Tampa Bay.
So I think they take the L to the Steelers. I think they split with New Orleans. So whether it's in the Superdome or at Mercedes-Benz, I think they get a dub somewhere along the lines. I think they take the L to Baltimore. Who was behind the cup again? Sorry, I didn't hear. I missed it.
The Cardinals.
Cardinals. Okay. I think Kyler Murray just wipes the floor with them. And then, you know what? I think at that point, Tampa Bay will be sitting everybody. So I think they get a dub in week 18.
No way.
So I think they're going to be sitting everybody by that point.
Even if they are sitting everybody, I think Tampa still wins that game.
That's tough. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know. I think they get 2 in this stretch. So I mean,
dude, Tyler Johnson could be wide receiver number 1 with a rookie quarterback and go 8 catches for 250 because Atlanta doesn't have a secondary.
Yeah.
It's just bad. I actually had it as there's not a single win on that stretch of the schedule.
Damn.
Pittsburgh defense, too good. Okay, yeah, they go on a bye, but then they they have to go on the road to face New Orleans, who at that point, by the way, will have had time to sort their head coach out. Jameis will have his feet under him. They also bought in Tyrann Mathieu and Juice. They might have Michael Thomas back, and Alvin Kamara will be off suspension and fresh late in the season. They're not winning that game. Baltimore, that's a wash. Arizona, there's nobody on that defense that can catch Kyler Murray. He might run for 200 yards. And like I said, even if Tampa sat all of their starters, there's a good chance Atlanta still loses that game. So they finished the season 3-14. Luckily enough, with the way that things happened with Matt Ryan, they recuperated some picks for this year. As long as they're bad and Indy's kind of good, this could be the start of a rapid rebuild for Atlanta.
Sure.
Just don't fight the current. Me and Mike have talked about this. There are a lot of teams that are bottom feeders that they're gritty and they fight. Sometimes it's okay to just be bad.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Next year, you won't be nearly as bad.
I get what you're saying. I don't think Atlanta is as willing to be bad. So I think they're going to go 6-11 here.
They passed on Malik Willis. They were definitely willing to be bad. They passed on Justin Fields. Definitely willing to be bad. Justin Fields is from Atlanta.
I think they go 6-11. A lot of players are from Atlanta. Georgia is a hotbed. Come on.
That's true.
But I think they go 6-11.
All right, fair enough. So that's kind of tough. Next is going to be the Carolina Panthers, the new home of the Bake Show. And last time you were here, you actually had them beating some pretty good teams.
Well, yeah, I think at that point, I think we all knew Baker was going to end up here to begin with.
Interesting.
I like the idea of the Panthers being solid.
Yeah.
I don't realistically understand like why, but I feel like they're just a trap game every year. So I guess starting out on the top rack here. This is preseason. Okay, so yeah, I had them beating the Browns. I feel like I remember.
Yep.
I think they beat the Giants. I think they beat New Orleans. And I think they lose in Arizona or against Arizona.
In San Francisco, then, yeah.
Yeah, and then at San Francisco, I think they lose San Francisco too. So like they started out 3-0 last season, and this is a very similar start because they start out with a little bit of promise, and then it clearly goes all downhill from here. If you look at that,
Cleveland's defense will bottle Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
New York has enough offensive weapons to contend. Yeah, Galladay, Barkley, Evan Ingram, Kadarius Toney. Like there are pieces in place. And they got Brian Daboll as their head coach, an offensive-minded head coach. I will give New York
I'll give you the
win
run game, but like I'm not going to sit here and call Kenny Galladay like a elite player.
I agree with you. Also, that game's on the road. They have to go to New York to play that game.
Okay. I'm gonna break a myth here about Giants fans being some of the greatest fans in the league.
Coming from a Philly fan.
They're ass. No, this is coming from somebody who's been to MetLife Stadium. They're ass. They literally have no motivation. They're the same thing as Knicks fans, okay? Knicks fans are so self-deprecating to the point that they just don't give a shit anymore. It's the same thing with Giants fans. Jets fans are better than Giants fans, and that should tell you everything. That should tell you everything. They're trash.
All of New York, you're not going to be allowed on any radio station in New York for the rest of your life.
I don't give a shit. That's fine. I don't need that.
That's so funny.
Oh my God.
I think they lose to New Orleans. New Orleans defense is good. They lose to Arizona. They lose to San Francisco. The other thing that goes into this, guys, listen, the saying goes, everybody knows it. If you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks.
True.
They now have a quarterback competition between Sam Darnold, who sees ghosts, and Baker Mayfield, who it has come out now that he was so outrageously immature in Cleveland that the longer he was there, the worse it got. This is not Robbie Anderson, their starting wide receiver, was like, and don't let him backpedal his statements.
Temple University alum. Go Owls, okay? Don't talk shit on Robbie. No, I'm kidding.
No, I'm just saying, but listen, man, it's one of those things where if he tried to, moonwalk those comments back, he didn't want Baker.
Yeah, no,
because everybody in the league, and I'm glad Mike isn't here for this take either. Everybody in the league knows that Baker is an average talent with an incredibly below average attitude, and that makes him a fringe starter at best. If I was talking, there's 32 starting spots in the NFL. Baker maybe deserves spots 31 and 32.
Just playing devil's advocate here. What's something that you need sometimes to have a resurgence or a coming out party in your career?
Oh, an underdog mentality.
That
change
but
of
also
scenery.
Change of scenery.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I don't even think it's a competition with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is trash. I don't even want to talk about it. I think at the end of the day, Baker Mayfield gets that starting job. I don't think you have a controversy, even in the preseason. I think you play the first two games, you realize very quickly, yeah, Baker's the way to go. Okay. I'm not saying that Baker's elite, but I am saying that maybe the change of scenery helps him out. I don't know.
I get it. Like I said, spots 31 and 32. The two teams that didn't have a quarterback this year were Seattle and Carolina. You do the math. Second set stretch of the schedule, they get the Rams, they get Tampa, they get Atlanta, Cincinnati, Atlanta, Baltimore, Denver. Ugh.
This gets rough.
That's tough. This is what they get for being a good team last year that started 6-0 or whatever. They started real hot before they took that loss or whatever to Minnesota in overtime. This hurt them this year because they have to play a step-up schedule. Losses to everybody but the Atlanta game at home.
I think I had them beat the Ravens. So I think they get two. Again, I think one of these is a trap game. So
that's fair.
Yeah, but agreed. I don't disagree with you in this sense. Yeah.
1-11. Is that what that would put them at? Or
I got them at Jesus. I got them at 5 and
6?
Oh, yeah, 5. No, okay, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 4 and 7.
There we go.
We're gonna go 4 and 7.
There we go. Final stretch of the schedule here. It does soften up a little bit for them. They get Seattle on the road, though. That's tough. Pittsburgh at home, Detroit at home, Tampa Bay on the road, New Orleans on the road to end the year. I had them beating Seattle, even though that's a road game. I think battle of the defenses there. Carolina's defense is younger and faster late in the season and better than Seattle's defense.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, going all the way back to my previous prediction, I love Motor City Dan Campbell and everything that they're doing there. I really do like them. But in week 16, their season really starts with Hard Knocks. No Hard Knocks team ever does well.
Yeah.
They will beat Detroit. They end the year 3-14.
I think they get Seattle, and then I think they lose out.
Okay.
Because I you know what? Because they're playing Detroit on a holiday, and let's be real, Detroit on a holiday is a completely different team.
Yeah.
No, but I think Detroit. I agree with you because I think there's something there. But yeah, I think they get 1 there, so I think that's what 5 and 12. I got them going. So finishing below the Falcons, which doesn't feel right, but at the same time, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna go with my gut, and yeah, that's how I'm feeling it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
On to the New Orleans Aints. I think they will regress to that this year. We kind of talked about it previously. Listen, it's tough.
Man.
This division is going to have a rough year without Sean Payton. Like we said it last year for the Saints, and it proved to be true. When you lose a legacy piece on any sports team, the next year's tough. So in consecutive years now, they have lost Drew Brees and Sean Payton, and they've had controversy with Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. And you know what I mean? Like they brought in some good locker room pieces. I think Juice and Tyrann Mathieu are sneakily some of the best offseason signings for a specific team.
Yes.
Because of what their mentality is and what they'll bring to the locker room itself, along with their talent level. But their schedule as a team that almost made the playoffs last year, much like Carolina, didn't do them any favors.
True.
Any favors. Plus, like I said, Jameis coming off an ACL. Quarterbacks are always going to take the first 6 weeks of the season before they feel right on that leg anyways. So they start the year. They go at Atlanta. They got Tampa Bay at home, at Carolina, versus Minnesota, and versus Seattle. Those are home games, by the way. For the first 5 weeks, how do you got it shaken out?
So I had them splitting with the Falcons. I think I had them beating the Falcons in the first week. They'll take the L to Tampa Bay. They'll take the L to Carolina. Did I say AM? Are they in London for that game?
Yes.
Okay, got you. I think the Vikings take that win. That feels weird to say. And then I think they beat Seattle and then lose to Cincinnati. So that's 2 of them. That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. The Atlanta game is obviously a loss. I told you why to begin the season. Tampa Bay, obviously a loss. They'll beat Carolina. The Minnesota game, as I said, the way that they set that up, I'm not super faithful in Minnesota's ability to win that game. Going to London, that defense, first-year head coach. I mean, not that, the guys that's running the Saints isn't a first-year head coach, but he's been in Sean Payton's pocket as kind of like the guy for the last 7 years.
It's the same thing as like if you go to the NBA and you have Budenholzer coming from Popovich or something.
McDaniels and, Belichick. That's why I put a lot of stock in McDaniels going to Oakland, right? Mm-hmm. And then they'll beat Seattle. They start the year 3-2, and Saints fans will be like, I told you we could do it without Sean Payton. And then we're going to shut them up here in weeks 6 through 12 because they get Cincinnati at home, Arizona on the road. They get Vegas at home, Baltimore at home, Pittsburgh on the road, the Rams at home, and then San Francisco on the road. I got them winning 1 game. I think they can beat Arizona week 7. But other than that, Cincinnati's a better team, Vegas is a better team, Baltimore's a better team. Pittsburgh defense is going to pose them a lot of problems on that offense. The Rams are a better overall team, and the Niners know how to control the clock.
Yeah, you're generous. 0. I don't think they win any of them. So, yeah, I mean, this is a tough run. run the schedule, and then again, like you're in Pittsburgh. That's the only game I can see them winning.
Yeah.
But like again, you're in Pittsburgh with in the middle of the season, home field advantage. I'm pretty sure they have a bye the week before.
Yes.
So I think they're feeling good. So yeah, 0-7.
All right.
Yes.
So then to end the season, they get Tampa Bay on the road. Ouch. Another really late bye, week 14.
God, man.
This division got screwed this year. Actually, I think they did it because the divisions kind of have their buys grouped together and they wanted Brady healthy for the playoffs, which just didn't bode well for anybody else.
Fair.
So they get Tampa Bay on the road. Then they get their bye. They come out of the bye to take on Atlanta at home, Cleveland on the road, Philly on the road, Carolina at home.
So let's see. They lose to Tampa.
Yes.
They lose to sorry, I just got thrown off by the thingamabob. They lose to Tampa. They lose to it. They lose to Atlanta because I had them winning in the first week. I think they beat the Browns. As an Eagles fan, I'm skeptical, but I think I think the Eagles win in this one as well. And then I think to wrap the season, I believe I had Carolina winning. I might be wrong here. So they got they got a little bit of pulse. So it's like what, 4-13 or 5-12. So okay.
I had them at 6-11. A loss to Tampa, obviously. Coming out of the bye, they'll beat Atlanta. They'll lose to Cleveland. That run game and defense is going to be good.
Yeah.
All year long. They'll lose to Philly. You'll be proud of us, by the way. We did our Philly prediction, and we had them a game below the Dallas Cowboys. But I think we had them finishing with like 12 wins. Much improved team this year. And then they'll beat Carolina. So 6-11's not bad. Because of how bad the other teams are, however, they will still finish in second place in their division with 11 losses, which is kind of wild because last week we did the West, and we didn't have a single we did the AFC West. We didn't have the AFC West. We didn't have a single team below 10 wins, and Denver finished in last place. Jesus. So this would be the exact opposite of that division. But then the Tampa Bay Gronkless nears because Gronk retired.
He's retired. Yeah. Exactly.
He'll be back week 8.
Yeah, we know.
But they are going to try to make one final run at it before Tom becomes the richest man in television history. Yep. With his broadcasting gig, or maybe he'll just go be the quarterback in Miami. Who knows? Everybody knows that Tua's on his way out the door, anyways. Week 1. They are on the road against Dallas, on the road against New Orleans. Then they get at home. They get home games against Green Bay and Kansas City and Atlanta. How do you have it going?
It's kind of a tough run for them to start
the year.
So first of all, the fact that you have anybody in the NFC East winning like more than 12 games is bonkers to me, but I'll just roll with it.
Nah.
I do have the Cowboys winning week 1. I think that they beat New Orleans. They beat Green Bay. Green Bay just kind of looks depleted. I mean, and Rodgers doesn't have a ton of weapons. Literally, his number 1 is Sammy Watkins. Pain. I think they lose again in prime time to Kansas City, and then I think they beat Atlanta. So I don't think they start the season as hot as everybody thinks they will. But I think they obviously have some pretty convincing wins when they do.
Yeah, typical Tom Brady fashion here. They'll lose a game where everybody thinks they should win. They're going to lose to Dallas, man. Listen, no Godwin, no Gronk. Fournette's a year older. New head coach in Foles.
Yep. And
Leftwich instead of Bruce Arians being at the helm. I don't see them being the same cohesive unit week 1 that Dallas is going to be. And I'm sorry, Dallas is going to be a wagon. Tony Pollard, Zeke Elliott. They got CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. They got, you know what I mean? Like week 1.
Like in the NFC, I would argue they are maybe one of the best tooled teams in the conference. So.
Absolutely. So I got them losing to Dallas. Then they'll bounce back. They'll beat New Orleans. They'll beat Green Bay. I think there's going to be a lot of Green Bay fans that are disappointed in the outcome yet again this year. Like I said, I think they win the division and make it to the playoffs, but it's a first-round exit for Green Bay. Kansas City, I think they win that game because it's at home in Kansas City, and Andy Reid will still very Tom Brady in New England-esque, still be trying to figure out all of the new offensive weapons.
Sure.
So I think they will be able to beat Kansas City in week 4, and then obviously a dog walk win or another pseudo bye against Atlanta in week 5. You go to the second stretch of the schedule where they get road games back-to-back against Pittsburgh and Carolina. Then they come for a 3-game home stretch, Baltimore, the Rams, and then Seattle, on the road against Cleveland, and then back home against New Orleans.
I think the one loss in this stretch is to the Rams.
Yeah.
Because I think on the road at Pittsburgh is always tough, but I think they see through it. Same thing with Carolina. Baltimore is a tough one. I think it's going to be tight, but I do think that they pull it off. I just think the Rams are just such a well put together team. I think it's really hard to see them at any time. Now, is this a rematch from last year during the playoffs? Absolutely. Will it be some motivation and everything?
Dude, the Rams got better.
They did get better. They clearly
I don't
did.
know how, but the Rams got better.
They just keep on retooling. They're an incredible franchise. I think finally that organization figured it out.
Yep.
In Germany, the Seahawks.
Game.
Yeah, Seahawks. I think they get up there. Same thing with Cleveland. Same thing with New Orleans. You're looking good. Again, that's one loss. So all the nerves that you had with the 3-2 start, I think they kind of recede once that happens.
Yeah, I think they go from 4-1 to 10-2. The only loss here being to the Rams.
Yeah,
they're too much for Pittsburgh, too much for Carolina. I think if there is a recipe to stopping Baltimore up the middle, especially them absent a true wide receiver right now, it is Vita Vea. And their defensive tackles, because they also got Akeem Hicks.
Yes,
let's keep that in mind.
Which underrated,
very underrated. So that they'll be able to slow down Baltimore plenty. They'll lose to the Rams. I know that's a home game, and that one will stick in Tom's craw a little bit. Like I said, man, the Rams got better. They upgraded at receiver. They upgraded at linebacker. They're getting a healthy running back. A second year with Matt Stafford and Sean McVay. They got better. Seattle, Cleveland will be a tougher game, but that's an easy win. And then New Orleans, there's not a whole lot of challenges in their schedule through this stretch. 10-2 to end the year. Then they go weeks 13 through 18. They go San Francisco on the road, Cincinnati at home, Arizona on the road, Carolina at home, Atlanta on the road to end the season.
Yeah, I think, again, this is a one-loss situation in this stretch. I think they lose to the Niners.
Okay.
You could flip-flop between them and Arizona, but I think the Niners are just a better team. And yeah, I think they end the season 13-4, and it's just convincing.
I have them at 13-4 too, with a loss to San Francisco. Shanahan has had enough experience against Tom Brady and that offense. You know what I mean?
100%.
I think the loss of a few key weapons for Tampa Bay as well only bodes well to what San Francisco brings to the table as a defense. And also they may have a dynamic weapon on offense that San Francisco has been missing in Trey Lance at that point in the season, which would be a big help for them. Cincinnati, we talked about this. They're in the middle of a meat grinder at this part of the season. I think they have games against I think it's Tennessee, Tampa, Kansas City, the Rams, and Baltimore. I think 5 straight weeks, which is a wild stretch to end the season.
Yeah.
So they'll beat Cincinnati, who is going to be just holding on for dear life. The Cardinals will have fallen apart in true Kyler Murray fashion week 15, so no worries there. A win there. Carolina, easy win. Atlanta, easy win. 13-4. They'll be vying for a bye. I think there's going to be a lot of teams right at that 13-4, 12-5.
Sure.
Potentially one team that sneaks to 14-3, and I think that'll be whoever that is will be the team that gets the bye. But they'll be reaching for that to that point in the season. If nobody gets there to get that bye, and they lock up the division, and Tom Brady gets to one last ride into the sunset for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the argument could be made here that game against the Niners could determine that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so because I think the Cowboys, I don't think they pull off the 13 wins, but I think, when I look at the schedule, man, I mean, that could be a really huge game coming up. That could be one that could be changed to prime time too. I think that's big.
Circle it on your calendars.
Do it. It's December 11th.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
4 days before my birthday. Let's go.
Hey, tight. Let's go.
All right. Over to Hot Corner. A few things I wanted to talk about. Gabe, we could talk about some fighting because there's some boxing matches this weekend. Ryan Garcia, King Ryan, after throwing shade at Canelo Alvarez and Eddie pretty much all of the last 6 months after leaving his camp, will square off against Javier Fortuna, a 32-year-old, southpaw fighter. I think that has been one of the things that a lot of people have wanted to see
Yeah.
from Ryan Garcia is boxing another southpaw. How do you think this one shakes out? Gabe, we'll go with you first because I know you're chomping at the bit.
Well, actually, so I love Ryan Garcia.
Me too.
I'm
Same.
really interested, and he was not an easy sell to me at first necessarily. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just thought he was a hype machine.
I thought he was a kid. I thought he was a kid.
Exactly. He looks like a boy.
He doesn't
Like-
anymore.
Like his hair, he doesn't not have hair on his chest because it's shaved. He
Yeah.
hasn't grown hair on his chest. You know, that's a real difference. You don't even see boxers with a good head of hair. You
Yeah.
never see that because you're supposed to have testosterone. Like there's so many things like that. That's why you go bald.
Yeah.
You thickly haired women, which is a compliment really because I have so much respect for women. But yeah, I don't know. So I believe though I haven't seen Fortuna fight nearly enough.
Yeah.
But this was very clearly a cherry pick, just because
Oh, he's trying to get to Tank Davis.
they wanted to get him experience on the lefty, obviously,
Oh yeah.
and the height matches up with Tank, right?
Yes.
Like I mean that's
A shorter fighter.
yep.
Most of Fortuna's knockouts have come via that check left hook that he throws. Guess who's got that as a staple in their game plan? Tank Davis. This is a setup fight,
Yeah,
in my
and,
opinion, for exactly that.
and like clearly the guy is supposed to be really good.
Yes.
I just don't know his, I don't know his game, but boy, it feels like they're smart with boxing now. They don't run these young studs into
each
a
other
buzzsaw,
early.
right? So yeah,
I mean, 37-1 is no record to sneeze at,
No,
right? Like
obviously
that's
not.
26 knockouts, nothing to sneeze at, right? But I don't know, man. I encourage everybody.
oh,
The
he's so
Ryan
worthwhile.
Garcia that you saw in his last fight against Emmanuel Goody?
Your guess is as good as mine. I'm not.
The
gonna
name
look-
sounds
yeah.
super. I'm probably close, but I probably also have it wrong.
Who are you trying to say? I didn't even.
The guy that he
Sorry.
fought previously, Emmanuel Goody. That was his name.
God, I'm feeling like an idiot now because I don't even know.
So he fought that guy, and that guy shelled up.
Yeah.
He really didn't
Oh,
want to
yeah.
fight Ryan. Right?
Yes.
It was 7 rounds of Ryan like slapping this guy's forearms pretty much.
Sure.
So we didn't get to see a ton. But the Ryan I saw in that fight, just physically, between the Ryan that I've seen in all of the training videos, especially recently, he's got his man body. It's coming. The size, the mass, the definition. I don't know if it's possible. I think his hands have gotten faster. It has been. I don't know what they're doing in his new camp, and I don't know if it's a mental thing for him. But I've watched Ryan Garcia since he was, I think it was 15-0. I've been a fan of him for a
Sure.
very long time.
Yeah.
I've seen a gear switch. He's gone from hype machine to, no, I'm about to make a real like legacy style run here. And so I think this is a 3rd, 4th round. If Fortuna decides to fight Ryan takes care of him quickly.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie and act like I'm a huge boxing guy, but like I even hear and realize how big of a deal it is that Ryan Garcia is on kind of like the footsteps of history at this point.
Yeah.
Like he's at the point where, you're going to be put in the same like classes of the Canelos, the, De La Hoyas, the Mayweathers. It's
Yeah.
just like, and this is like exactly he's what the sport needs,
Yeah.
because again, there's people like me who are casual fans that aren't investing in this and watching UFC instead.
Yes.
And so what ends up happening is that, you have the stagnant kind of boxing fans that are like, oh my gosh, but we need somebody to get behind. We need somebody to get behind. This is the guy.
right here.
This is literally the guy. Again, we talked about Jazz Chisholm earlier about bringing the future of the MLB, into the forefront. Ryan Garcia will do the same thing in the world of boxing.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the rub, he's the fight before his rub fight. Every great boxer needs the rub. Canelo got it from Mayweather, even though he took a loss.
Yeah.
So the thing that I was thinking about his fights, right? And like whatever. When you think of him having to get ready for Tank, I think it's long been known with him, and I should have thought of this right away, is his chin issues.
Ryan?
Garcia stands straight up with his chin out.
He does. And he got popped in that Campbell
By
fight.
Campbell, and that's it though.
That
And I'm
is
kinda
the only
waiting to
time, but
see-
that's the only time he's ever been caught, because I think I start, and I know this is a weird comparison. I look at him almost like I look at Israel Adesanya. elite. I mean, his head may be up, but he's got good head movement,
Yeah.
and his hands are so fast. Getting in to touch him is a problem.
Yeah.
They are, but in boxing, you don't get to like. Izzy can keep people off with his feet.
Yeah.
He can get like all that. It's like he is going to get tested. You can't be a great champion
Right.
without a chin. So we don't know that about him. I'm actually Googling right now to see about Fortuna because I don't know that much. And the first thing that pops up tells me just about everything that I need to know. Fortuna's weakness is his speed. So
this is a mismatch.
Rest in
right.
peace.
It's like that's I knew there'd be something, and that's just it. So he is Tank Jr. He can hit hard, apparently.
He's not super fast.
Yep, but not as fast. So there you go.
Be an
Good.
interesting fight. So that fight takes place on 16th is Saturday.
16th Saturday. Yeah.
Oh, so if for those of you that were wondering if I was going to be watching the MLB All-Star game, probably not because this will be on. And then let's kick on over to and so predictions, Gabe, knockout or win by decision?
Boy. So I don't know enough about this, but I'll say knockout.
Okay.
Yeah,
early, late?
speed. He's late. I don't think he has early knockout power.
It's a statement situation, so I think
Early.
he needs to knock him out pretty. I'd say 5th. I think you find.
I don't think it I don't think it goes past the 5th round if I had to put money on it in Vegas. I would say late 3rd round actually. And then let's move over to Lamar Jackson.
All right.
Interesting.
Kind of weird.
Interesting. Gabe, there's an image that goes with this that I think you will appreciate. Y'all better big trust that I'm gonna need that bag because the thing that you see in the background, the grills that say "I need money," are what is currently posted on his Instagram and Twitter feed as his background profile picture.
Is the reason he needs money because he can't get a full grill? That's like my question.
No, I don't know if that's the truth, but
I don't know.
I think it has more to do with the fact that he, as his own negotiator, is beginning to become very frustrated with how Baltimore is trying to handle paying this man.
You mean Baltimore, market that is like one of the smaller ones in the NFL, can't afford Lamar Jackson? Shocking.
But here's my argument becomes, I watched you pay Joe Flacco.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just watched Cleveland guarantee money to an alleged rapist.
Yes.
Where's my money?
Yeah. It is such and here's the thing is because like Lamar is, I'd say probably when you're talking other than Ray Lewis and Ed Reed,
Yeah.
like, larger than life players that the Ravens have ever have. So I think, he wants that bag, rightfully so, because he is, when you're talking about, all these different quarterbacks and like the move on to the new generation of like mobile quarterback, he's the forefront, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is that he should want that money. He should get that money. The problem is I don't think the Ravens are willing to give him
I don't think they are either.
So I think he walks and goes somewhere like I don't want to say LA because I think they got their situation.
He's going home. He's going to Miami.
You think so?
I
feel
said
that.
this months ago when this first started and a contract wasn't done, and every day that we get closer to training camp, Lamar, like Kevin Durant, will not hold out. If he's under contract, he will show up and play.
Yeah.
And he will still be one of the better players on the field any given moment. But when that contract is up, he will make no two shakes about it when it comes to, you guys didn't want to pay me. You had the chance to before the season. My contract has technically already expired. Don't call my line. Don't call my agent. Don't say nothing about me in the media. I'm gone. And I think he would be welcome back to Miami with open arms. Tyreek Hill, Waddle, Gesicki, Mike McDaniels, that they've got two great corners, young linebackers, good safeties. That makes Miami an immediate Super Bowl contender in a town that hasn't had one since Dan Marino.
I don't think people realize like how close Miami is because
Tua's the only thing holding them back.
That's the thing. It's the quarterback situation.
Yep.
But if you remove Tua from the situation and you just look at the roster itself,
You're like, wow.
it's a top end roster. It's
Yeah.
a top 15, top 16 roster.
They're a playoff roster.
Yeah, 100%. And so if you add in Lamar Jackson, like, holy shit, dude. Like what even happens at that point? It's just crazy to me. So like, I feel like that'd be absolutely wild. I could also see Tampa Bay making a little bit of a case because
Yeah.
once Tom retires,
Still
I
in
think
Florida,
he's heading
yeah.
towards South Florida. I think he's heading towards Florida.
I would agree.
But it just matters on which team decides to actually pay him properly.
So he's got to. I would think, and it's not a trade situation, so he could just stay in the AFC too. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he has to leave to go to the NFC either. So
is he taking a risk though, making himself, just in the leadership capacity, right? Like, is he making himself a distraction? And actually,
I don't think so.
Oh, well, actually, so I was Googling it as I was saying that.
Yeah.
And this just broke an hour ago. So this is with one of his teammates. Oh, ex-Raven safety. Never mind.
I was gonna say it makes you feel better. I don't know who Bernard Pollard is either. So
I do actually from past, but he's old, so that's my
had to Google you.
Had to Google it. I mean, here's the thing: is that I like a little bit of swagger in like my players too, and I think like whereas you can make the argument Baker Mayfield can't back it up, Lamar certainly can.
Be who you can afford to be.
Sure. So in this case, I think it's a situation where, like, I mean, yeah, is he a little cocky? Absolutely. Does he have the room to be cocky? Also, yes. Because, I mean, he's making this Ravens team, which without him is maybe a 7-8 win team, a playoff contender, and, like, a division winner consistently.
Putting this into context, since he's taken over, the only two quarterbacks that have a higher winning percentage than Lamar Jackson are Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Not Aaron Rodgers. Not Kirk Cousins, not Deshaun Watson, not Russell Wilson, not, Josh Allen, not any of those guys. It goes Pat, Tom, Lamar. You got to pay that guy. There's no reason not to pay that guy. And if you're not going to pay him, tell him you're not going to pay him. And let's do media speculation for a year. I'm all in on that. That's good for the show. But like the point of, are you putting yourself at risk as a leader? No, because like I said, I think no matter what, the guys in his locker room probably understand that he's given them everything. He plays hurt, he plays injuries, he plays through scrutiny. And the only thing that this man has wanted since the day he showed up in Baltimore was to win them a Super Bowl and prove that he is not a runner with an arm. It's to prove that he is a quarterback. And the only other thing that I think leans into the narrative of the fact that he may not want to come back or get a hometown discount from Baltimore is the way that they utilize him. Look at the situation with Deebo Samuel. Has that been subsided? No, there are still rumors that Deebo is going to get traded. Why? Because everybody knows if he goes back to San Francisco, he's going to have to play the split role between wide receiver and running back. That diminishes his shelf life and his long-term value. Same thing with Lamar. If he goes back to Baltimore because they refuse to draft and or sign or trade for a top-level wide receiver and open that offense up to have him do what he was doing in Louisville, which was chucking the ball all over the yard and running when those plays break down, then leave to go find what you're looking for. I am all about it. If there's one guy in the NFL that deserves, much like Damian Lillard does in the NBA, to go get what is rightfully owed to him elsewhere, it's Lamar Jackson.
Dame, please leave. Oh my God.
He signed a 2-year extension.
Please leave. Do you hear that he couldn't even get the owner on the phone?
Yeah.
Or, like email, phone, whatever. That was pretty, whatever.
God.
Funny.
I've loved Damian Lillard since he got into the league. It's just so pathetic that he's with that dumpster fire of an organization.
Yep.
Just absolutely terrible. Just go to Golden State. Literally, just go like.
I'd be okay with him going to LA to team up with Braun at this point.
Yeah, man. Like honestly, or go to the Clippers, team up with Kawhi.
No, they got John Wall now.
Yeah.
Okay. Get him to the T-Wolves. Come on.
That's something I'm way behind.
With the $30 million, we just have to focus on with Rudy Gobert. I don't even want to talk about that trade.
We're paying $120 this year to Cat, Gobert, and D'Angelo Russell.
Everybody, I'm so against the Rudy trade. I'm so I'm on that side of the thing. I don't know if you are as well.
I hated it.
It's the worst. Congrats, you just got 14 and 12 and like lost a combined 30 points a game.
Vanderbilt could have turned into Rodman.
Right. Let's not get crazy.
Could have games very similar.
I will take 30 points a game for maybe 5 more minutes a game than take 14 and 12 for like 35. We don't need that.
We'll see.
Do you guys realize that if I was the GM for the Minnesota sports franchises, we would have Damian Lillard and Mike Trout in town?
And nobody else.
And hey, we would be out of the market for least valuable superstars.
I know.
Whoa.
That would be sad, though.
Pain.
Kirk Cousins. Ugh. Cat. Ugh.
I like Cat.
Kevin Fiala. Ugh.
Cat's an Eagles fan. You know, I got love. So.
No, shut it. All right, folks, that's all we got for you this week. Hope you guys enjoyed having E. White back in the studio. Thanks for coming, man. We appreciate it.
Where can they find you, Nick? I'm curious. Where can they find the people?
On Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Patreon.
Hell yeah.
At Glass Half Sports, spell it like it sounds. As always, glad to have you guys. Make sure you tune in with us next week as we tip on over to the AFC South to wrap up our NFL predictions for scheduling. We will also have the fallout from the MLB All-Star game, the Ryan Garcia fight. We will be talking about there's something else that's coming up. Oh, there's a bunch of UFC stuff that's popping off right now. Some news about John Jones, Volkanovski, champ status, a bunch of different stuff that you guys won't want to miss out on. And I'm sure, because training camp isn't back, that Rich Eisen and Pat McAfee and all these guys will still be on break. So who are you going to want to come see other than Glass Half Sports? As always, ladies and gentlemen, take care, stay safe, have fun.
For sure. Oh my goodness. Yes. Why are you pointing at me, lady? Why are you pointing at my boobs? That's rude.
You got nice boobs.
MBC. No relation to NBC.